one magic heart to seize, one little mind to ease on, one silver drum to beat. Ooh, these mountains torn from us, these mountains torn from us. If I'm leaving you without return or snare, catapults through time and space, you can come it home if you wish, or if it's fair, but it's mine to share and share. I like, won't you mourn with me? Love, won't you mourn with me? Hey, lovers, won't you mourn with me? All across the middle, the world survives. Look outside, the air's alive. Call it ether, elemental eye. Ooh, dark nights, one magic kite to fly, one little life to light up, one silver eye to eye. Ooh, these mountains born of us, these mountains born of us. If I'm leaving you without return or snare, catapults through time and space, you can call it home if you wish, or if it's fair, but it's mine to share and share. I like, won't you mourn with me? Lover, won't you mourn with me? Hey, lovers, won't you mourn with me? Lovers, won't you mourn with me? Hey, lovers, won't you mourn with me? Lovers, won't you mourn with me? Lovers, won't you mourn with me? Hey, lovers, won't you mourn with me? Lovers, won't you mourn with me? Well, the end is right, yet the world gets by. Why they fill my skies with junk? Still celestial bodies spinning out the sun, are bringing your deliverance as one. In the wounded stars, hiding ageless arms, come and take my body so far, so far. 'Cause home may be calling, a home some other luck, but as a noonday witness, I'm lost. Sticky pine, build some other minds, 'cause faith ain't enough, ain't enough. For it's God's my pilot, I need him to make that chance to round my escape from this heart. Well, the end is right, yet the world gets by. Why they fill my skies with goodbyes? Still celestial bodies spinning out the sun are bringing your deliverance as one. They're bringing your deliverance as one, as one. They're bringing your deliverance as one, as one. Is love full of brackish gold, protected like a lilac coat, becomes by the breath of the sun, denuded and diffused again. While he went so silent, so subsumed, forbade his babe by room to ever lapse into ruin and regret. Purely please, oh I can't crease. I get tired, I just get tired. Splurge-a-lease, no glass on bleach, down to the west. I just got tired, along the flame to you. I'm on the way to you. 40 years to finally wake up, and 9 more to sling the snakes out of you. Richly pink, that steel profile, a flint of luck, miscast my chance. Is one does after days, droll dance, triumph after triumph. Death was the chant past fire and the moon. Stranger calls my pew, making good on that promise. And are you pure to please? Oh, I can't preach. I get tired, I just get tired. Splurge-a-lease, no glass on bleach, down to the west. I just got tired, along the flame to you. I'm on the way to you, along the flame to you. I'm on the way to you. 40 years to finally wake up, and 9 more to sling the snakes out of you. Along the flame to you. I'm on the way to you. Along the flame to you. I'm on the way to you.
All right. One more time, guys. William? I gotta say, it is a cool day when you're walking to work listening to an album, and then a couple of hours later you get to actually hear it live by the man himself. So thank you very much, William, for stopping by our offices here in New York City.
Thank you.
And doing this live with us here on Billboard Live. So let's talk about this album, OG Lala. It's out everywhere now, and it was a collaboration with you and Rick Rubin. That's correct. Now that you, I just get a nod. Now you and Rick, this wasn't your first time, right? You guys linked up what once before in
98. Yeah, we did a song called "Let Me Give the World to You."
Okay. Now the big thing that a lot of people are talking about is this stripping away that you and Rick were able to accomplish on this new album. It's kind of similar to what Rick did with Johnny Cash. Is that fair to say?
I never heard that record.
You never heard that record
No, I'm
at
just
all?
kidding. No, I've done a lot of acoustic work, but I think it's because the whole album is kind of this vibe. It sort of surprises people, but we did songs like "Disarm" and lots of songs that were acoustic. So it's funny how the world perceives something. There's the reality and then there's the perception. So I realized the perception is loud and brash, but the reality is, I've always done music like this, but maybe this is the first time it's all together in one batch.
So was the rawness that we hear on Ojilala, was that a product of working with Rick, or was that something you were setting out to do before Rick became a part of the picture?
No, I sent Rick the songs and he was attracted to the vibe, but I went into the recording process prepared to, if he had said let's do it with a brass band or something, I had no preconceived like it has to be like this. So the fact that it turned out kind of close to the demos, like this sort of form stripped raw, surprised me, but I was cool with it because it sounded nice.
You said something really cool recently about the recording of this record, that it was a return to form without feeling like going backwards, and that seemed like I wanted to know, how did you accomplish that? That seems like sort of threading a needle there.
Well, first you go crazy, and then you stop being crazy. Now, it's being in a rock band, particularly in a tumultuous decade like the 90s was for music, it takes a while for the tide to kind of go back out to where you sort of say, sort of how do I fit in all this? And, the rise of Napster, the rise of illegal file sharing, the rise of streaming, I've been through sort of 4 evolutions of how digital technologies have affected the sort of the working artist. And so as you're sort of trying to navigate all that, you're also, maturing, and you're into different things, and you're trying to figure out if the audience is going to follow you, or you're going to try to find a new audience. So it takes time to sort of put all those pieces together.
Yeah. I want to get back really quickly to this stripping away that is really beautiful. What I like about it, the effect that it has, at least for me as a listener, is, when you strip it all away, it really just sounds like you're kind of hanging out with, William Patrick Corgan listening to this record. It's a very intimate experience listening to the record in this stripped away sense. And what caught my ear, though, is when all these publications were making a big to-do about the sound of the record and the rawness of it, is I know you had previously described going into your record Adore with the Pumpkins back in the late 90s as a stripping away process of sort of like, getting rid of some of the things that you had been doing for the past 6 to 7 years up to that point with that band. Did you, going into this record or in the process of recording this record, did you personally feel any similarities between the recording of Adore and the recording of this?
No, it felt really different to me. This was probably the first time, and I've made, 12 albums or something. This is probably the first time I went in, I was willing to follow the music wherever it went. I didn't have a particular agenda, which is pretty unusual for me. I usually know exactly what kind of record I want to make. So this was totally different. And I just said to Rick, whatever you want to try, I'm cool with.
Do you think that's going to be unique to this record? There's probably no way to answer this question or no way to know, but I'm just curious, do you think that's going to be unique to this record, or do you think that's a new way to approach music for you as an artist?
I'm probably more open to working with other people than I have been for a while. I think for me, the last sort of 10 to 15 years has been a very personal journey of why do I make music and what do I want to accomplish in music? And like I said before, as the goalposts kept changing of what is accomplishment. I mean, these days it's a common thing in the music business that people are less interested in sales and more interested in sort of buzz and streaming. And I mean, 20 years ago, that would have been like heresy.
Yeah.
Because record sales was the bar by which you denoted something being important. So now you can have something that'll get 70 million watches on YouTube. Won't necessarily sell out of records, but everyone agrees that song.
And that's the new metric. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's one of the new metrics. I don't care. I mean, to me, it's all the same. It's just you got to remember, during those years of transition from, let's call it the old music business to the new music business, no one could give you a straight answer of what success was anymore. There was no hard and fast, this is success. And so it's taken a while for everybody, including myself, to sort of figure out what you would qualify as success because, as you see, it's still a pop-driven game. And but that when you oftentimes you look at the actual numbers that the pop artists do, their numbers are actually not that big in terms of sales. It's more about this other thing,
the buzz,
cultural impressions and engagement and stuff like that. That's all new math.
Yeah. I'm not going to dive too deep into the record because you've done a really great job in previous interviews of saying that sometimes you are at risk of over-intellectualizing things, and especially music. But I do want to ask you...
The worst crime with music is to overthink it. Yeah.
I do want to ask you about the first track on this album, which is a gorgeous song called Zoe. And I'm just curious, again, at the risk of over intellectualizing just the track list and the
Take a
sequencing,
chance.
why did you go with Zoe to open the record? And if you have any memories of writing Zoe, because it's just a gorgeous song.
Oh, thank you. No, I was playing the piano at home, and as you do sometimes, I hit a certain chord sequence, and it made me start thinking of something that David Bowie would do. And David had passed not too long before that, and there was a show in Chicago that had all of David's memorabilia. I don't know where else it went in America, but it was this massive show of all his amazing clothes and his videos and like a multimedia show. It was very, very, it really struck me because I knew David enough to sort of, I remember things he told me in private, and so I have my own soundtrack in my head of things he said to me, and I'm looking at the show and all these, his cultural impact. And so as I'm writing the song, I'm sort of thinking of David and the person I knew, and so when I was done with the song, even though it wasn't written for David, it was like he was sort of riding shotgun with me during the song. So I thought it would be cool to name the song in tribute to him.
And the decision to open the record with that song?
I don't know. It's kind of weird because at the time it seemed to make a lot of sense, and it makes less sense to me now. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I
think
it.
I appreciate it, but I think it says something about there's an inner experience of making a record and what your impression is at the time, and then there's an outer experience which, when people start to hear the record, they start giving you feedback, and it actually kind of changes your perception. It doesn't diminish it; it just sort of changes it. It's like saying to your friend, "I really liked the movie," and then they'll say, "Yeah, I did, but that fight scene was kind of lame." And you start thinking, "Yeah, actually, it was kind of lame."
It was kind of lame.
Yeah, it sort of has a way of just sort of pivoting you a little bit. So I don't know if I think it's the type of record where if you asked me the question once a month for a year, I would keep changing the way I would want the record to flow, because it's changing for me still.
Definitely. I want to talk about Pillbox. This is really cool. It's a silent film, and correct me if any of this is wrong, but you've premiered it already in a bunch of major cities. And I've seen the teaser, I've seen the trailer for Pillbox, but in your own words, is this something that can be listened to along with the album?
That's the point, yeah.
That's the point, okay.
Yeah, we rather than just make a conventional music video, we made a 40-minute silent movie, and then we laid the album Mojilala into the soundtrack.
Okay.
So you watch the movie, and then subconsciously you kind of take in the album. That was sort of the point of it.
That's really cool. Would you be able to listen to this album, because it's out everywhere today, by the way, would you be able to listen to this without the movie and still understand a story?
Wait, say it again.
So would you be able to listen to this album, Ojilala, without the visuals of Pillbox and
course,
still
yeah.
hear a narrative there?
Yeah, I remember a few years back it was that, hey, if you put on Wizard of Oz and you listen to Dark Side of the Moon. So the point is, if you take two pieces of art and you kind of mash them together, something will happen. Eventually there will be some form of synchronicity. So the album stands its own, the movie stands its own, but when you put them together, you get a different experience. That's not too dissimilar from taking illegal drugs.
Now, your fans were hounding me on social media today about...
My fans have a way of hounding people.
They're passionate. No, I dig it. Trust me. I deal with like a lot of pop acts with these fan armies nowadays.
How would you quantify the crazy level?
They're not as bad as, say, like a BTS. Have you ever heard of BTS? They're like a Korean pop boy band. Those fans are like, everybody in this room probably knows about those fans. Those fans are, you hear the giggles, those fans are crazy. But they're up there. Maybe like on par with a Belieber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. But they want to know, will this be getting a digital release, Pillbox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a date?
Well, last night I think was the last premiere.
Okay.
So I think we are going to put the thing online for everyone to see.
Oh, that'll be neat. All right. I want to ask you about a quote that I love that you said famously on stage somewhere. I think you were accepting an award maybe, about how when you put on a guitar for the first time, you put that strap over your shoulder, you know where I'm going with this?
No.
Oh.
No. I say a lot of things.
This will be good. No, this will be good.
Like, oh my God, what did I say, and where did I say it, and when did I say it, and what mood was I in when I said it?
This is what's fun about live. So you said when you put that guitar strap over your shoulder for the first time, you make a decision, right? There's a fork in the road. You're either going to please these people in front of you at a show, or you're going to push their buttons. Do you remember saying that?
I do.
Okay. I want to ask, right now, at this point in your career, what is your answer to that ultimatum?
Don't have an answer. Honestly. No, I don't. It sounds strange because I'm promoting, which is, it's obviously an act this way, but I don't, maybe for the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to sell anything. You know what I mean? I don't feel the need to make any decision.
Interesting.
I've made this decision, and I trust God, somebody, to figure the rest out, which is weird because I've spent 30 years very much thinking about this relationship. Not only as just a commercial artist, which sounds a bit bourgeois, but I mean also as a sort of raconteur and a prankster, and I would say things in interviews just to get a rise out of people. I would do all sorts of things just to see what would happen because it was amusing, or courting controversy, just to court it. So to go back to just being a musician and trusting that music is enough and not needing to sort of create a dynamic outside of the musical act is sort of new to me.
That's really cool. It must be freeing in a way.
It's cool
no?
if it works.
It's cool if it works, of course. Wait and see on OG Lala, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of your rabid fans, we have some fan questions that were submitted via Reddit. There's actually I'm sure you well know, there's a Smashing Pumpkins subreddit that they were very appreciative that we put it out there today of, hey, do you want to ask
that's cool.
William a question? And they certainly did. So I will try to pronounce these usernames. They have very creative usernames here as best as I can if you're watching at home right now from Reddit. Lucian Soul 2 wants to know if I can ask you how you decided to do this style of album and any hints about the SP album that you mentioned during your 30 Days vlog.
Yeah, I was doing a Smashing Pumpkins album, lost my mind, quit for the first time. I've never quit making an album, although I thought about it many times.
What made you quit?
I was just unhappy.
Okay. With how it was coming out?
It just wasn't good. I mean, you'd like to make an album that's good. And so then I ended up writing a bunch of songs that became the songs that Rick heard that led to making OG Lala. I never intended to make a solo acoustic record. It had a lot to do with Rick's support. So I really credit him with sort of taking me down a path that I probably wouldn't have gone down on my own. So the Pumpkins album is sort of forever abandoned.
Okay. Champler. I have been wondering at what point did he decide to stop working on Day for Night and start on a solo album? I think you just answered that. So, you know what? This is an interesting little add-on, though, that we didn't touch on. How much osmosis was there between the two projects, if any at all?
I originally announced that they're both projects were sort of twin mirrors of one another. And so there were songs I purposely left off of the last Pumpkins album, Monuments, to put on what was going to be the second album.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, there's one song that made that cut that ended up on OG Lala, which is a song called The Spaniards, which we played a few times live with the Pumpkins. But besides that, it was like a ship that just went down into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Holy Pig. What's up, Holy Pig? I'd ask him, what is he listening to these days? Because the last time somebody asked you this, it turned this particular fan onto Fantagram.
Oh, good band. I don't listen to any new music currently.
Just classics, or like really? Like you had to have listened to music. Like what did you listen to?
Honestly, when I'm working a lot, I tend to listen to no music.
Okay.
I just can't. It's too many voices in my head.
Do you listen to music for fun? Like, do you ever just
Rarely.
relax? Rarely. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
If I listen to music socially at home, I mostly play bluegrass or old country.
Oh, interesting.
That's pretty much the only thing that sort of doesn't cause a distortion in my brain.
All right. Krusty Ruffles, these names.
I love these names.
Yeah, they're great. Are there still plans for a Zwan reissue, hopefully with unreleased material?
I had a band after the Pumpkins called Zwan in 2002, 3-ish, and there's 65 unreleased songs plus a ton of live recordings, and I own it all, and so the idea is at some point to create kind of a box set. But we got into a legal dispute with whatever our record label is these days, the Pumpkins world. And so what was the last Pumpkins reissue, which was the album that came out in 2000, Machina and Machina 2, those are sort of languishing. So I would want to do that first before I would do anything from the 2000s.
Gotcha. McQueen writes, out of the hundreds of songs you've written, this is a tough question, what song are you most proud of?
That's impossible to answer.
Any jump out? Maybe not most proud, maybe not number one.
I don't know. The easiest thing is you reach for something that people would know, like 1979 or Tonight Tonight or something like that.
Does Pride for you correlate necessarily with sales success or with commercial success?
No. I think what it is the best way I can explain it is like a song like Tonight Tonight came out 22 years ago, something like that. And it's weird. Somewhere along the way, after, I don't know, pick your time period, 15 or 20 years, it doesn't feel like it's my song anymore. It's like it feels like it's everybody's song. It's like it's become sort of a communal road marker of a time, and so I really enjoy that. Like that's actually really cool. I think, wow, that's amazing that you even have one of those, that you can, and of course when I'm driving down the road and they play Smells Like Teen Spirit or something, I have the same generational memory of like the first time I heard this song, sitting on a riverbank with Butch Vig, and he's playing a cassette, while he's making the album. We were like one of the first people to hear that song in the world. On a cassette, like a boombox, So I go back to that moment, like I'm sure other people go back to some of my songs. So, at some point it feels like it's not my song anymore. So there's still a hoarder's pile of my songs that no one can touch.
That Butch Vig story is incredible. I love how you just casually like, yeah, everybody's got memories like this. You know, you're hanging out.
It was July 4th of whatever the year was, 91 or 92.
Wow.
Yeah. He'd just come back from California, and he said, we were watching fireworks or something. The sun's going down. And he was like, oh, you want to hear the new Nirvana album?
Sure.
It's like, sure. So he had a boombox, and he presses play, and, you hear the Teen Spirit. Dun, 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 dun. And I thought, wait, that's More Than a Feeling by Boston. That's what I thought. And in a beautiful synchronicity, not too long after that, maybe 6 months, a year later, we were in Tokyo and Nirvana was playing, and we went to see them play. And they got to the moment in the show where they were going to play Teen Spirit or something. You had a sense like Here It Comes, or it was an encore or something. And Kurt started playing More Than a Feeling.
No.
Yeah. And of course it went right over the heads of the crowd, but it was like, okay, so I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's an awesome moment. Let's see. With 2 more quick fan questions, and then I want to talk tour with you really quick. We have Sid7170. I want to know about his disagreements with Rick Rubin on certain stuff, because so much has been made about all the great music that has come out of it. Was there anything I guess he's curious, or this fan is curious. Did you guys ever butt heads over something small?
No.
Really? So it was just pretty pleasant the entire time?
No. There was probably the only sort of dissonant moment was Rick was listening to a lot of electronica, and after we had the basic tracks, which like you just heard me play, that's kind of the feel of what we recorded, and it was like, are we going to put more stuff over the top of it? So he had the idea of sort of trying to put some electronic elements over it, and we did about a day of it, and I just stayed out of the way and let it happen. And after a day, he said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think it's awful." And he said, "Okay, cool, let's do something else." And that's when it went the direction it went. So I mean, if that's a disagreement, I mean that's as intense as it got. Reality, dun 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 dun.
Real
real producers of LA.
Yeah. We have one last fan question. This is actually talking about, is Ian Cohen here, by the way? You did a great interview with Ian Cohen from Spin. Spin's like our neighbors over here, so I don't know if he was in the room, but he's not in the room. We have confirmation.
I think I saw him doing cocaine in the bathroom. That's like part of the Spin employee package, right? You get free cocaine and Adderall. Is that?
The break room. Well, while William Patrick
you guys
Corgan,
share that?
I've never been over there. You said in this Spin interview, which is a great interview, no matter what they're doing over there, I'm a weirdo. I got crooked teeth. I don't stand up straight. I play guitar funny. You saying I like to write lyrics to songs about things that nobody fucking cares about. So this particular fan says,
I wish I wouldn't curse though. I need to.
We'll bleep it. But he wants to know, how much do you care about the music that you write, particularly on OG Lala? Do these songs mean a lot to you? Are they important to you? Or are they more just fun little projects that you think sound neat?
Well, the question's offensive because, in essence, I wouldn't be doing all this and being away from my kid if I didn't care and ask you to give up your time. So, no, I think what people get confused by is music as a way of life. And I say this, I don't care who you are, like a rapper or an EDM artist. It's a total commitment. You got to go totally into the thing. And I think a lot of people like to project, let's call it this sort of slacker beauty idea of what it means to be a star or something, that you just sort of roll around in gold dust and, fairies come and bring you grapes or something. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't really work out that way. You have to be really, really committed to your deal. Everything else becomes kind of part of the circus part of it. And you can play with it or you can act tough, like I don't care or whatever. But people misread the tea leaves on the way an artist navigates the sort of the media empire and the public sphere, and they start to make assumptions about who the artist is when all's said and done. Most people, if you get in a studio with them and the door is closed, they're quite normal. I find most normal people are actually the weird ones.
I want to talk tour. Tour kicks off tomorrow in Brooklyn at the, is it the Murmur? What's the name of that venue? Murmur Theater, I think, maybe.
No one has ever heard of it.
I think it's relatively new from what I understand.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
It is a cool room, though. I have been there, so despite me not knowing
it's not a good thing when somebody says, "Oh, where are you playing?" They say, "Go where?" Huh?
Yeah. No, it is. It's a very cool room. It's a very cool space out in Brooklyn, and that show is sold out. So congratulations on that. And you're playing 2 dates, I think, in Brooklyn. And then what else is going on tour? Do you know? Yeah, I think it's running through late November.
Yeah, playing somewhere in Delaware, Wilmington, I think.
Okay.
Toronto, Nashville, 2 dates in Chicago. The 4 dates in LA are sold out, and there's dates in San Francisco and 1 in Denver.
Right on.
It's a very short tour. I would love to play more, but this kind of music in this crazy world is not always the easiest fit.
Right. And of course, for more details, of course, you can go to William Patrick Corgan on social media and find out
there's also a website, OG Lala, which is the name of the album.com.
Oh, cool.
And it has all the pertinence.
Right on. Going back to that Spin interview really quick in closing here, you mentioned that how by the time you're done with press, you're pretty removed from the album itself because there's the recording, there's the writing process, the recording process, and then by the time press is over, you said in the interview with Spin that you're almost ready to create. And I'm curious, after these shows, of course, you're heading out on tour beginning tomorrow, but are you already thinking of new material?
Actually, when OG Lala was done, I still was pretty wound up, so I actually wrote another record that I may go record the other album at the end of November.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't have a name yet, but it's similar vibe as OG Lala.
That's awesome.
I think working with Rick really got me motivated. So we'll see. And then there's this rumor in the air about Pumpkins, so we'll see. So it would be amazing if in next year there would be more of this type of music for me, and there'd also be new Pumpkins. But we'll see. We'll leave that to the rock gods or the drug addicted staff at Spin.
They're like. I can't think of a better way to end this.
That's
William Patrick Corgan, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.